Coach, if Ryan Fitzpatrick is starting Thursday, and you can tell us if anything has changed, is it accurate to say that that is an indicator he is a projected starter for the season opener?
No, I wouldn't say that's accurate. I would say we go into every game trying to evaluate every player on the team. I know this is the third preseason game, and the thought is, okay, this is the dress rehearsal for regular season game number one. In a lot of ways, it is that, but every game's important to me. So every time we step out there against another opponent, it's a great evaluation for everyone on the team. This week's no different. So, that's what I would say about that.
Flo, do you want to have one quarterback, or do you feel like on a week-to-week basis you'll be deciding?
I want to put the guy will help us win, who we feel will give us the best chance to win games. That's one quarterback. That's four quarterbacks. I think in a best-case scenario, it is one person, but things happen. We have to be ready to adapt. Guys go down, and at all positions, and you have to be ready to adapt and have that next man up mentality. So, yeah.
Do you anticipate being able to make that decision after this third preseason game for week one?
Potentially, I think we may. Obviously, it'll be our third game. We'll have most of the evaluation done. So yeah, potentially we would be able to make that call, but we may not. I think part of that is, as a staff, we'll get together and talk about what we feel is, best for the team, and if we feel strongly that it's one guy or the other, then we'll make that decision. If not, then we'll continue to evaluate and go from there.
Now that you've looked at the film of the game, how would you grade the progress that Fitz and Josh made last week?
I think there's a lot of things we could do better offensively. We had some drops. We had some penalties. We had some negative plays in the run game, sacks. So I think, we spent a lot of time talking about one position, but as a total offense, there's a lot of things we can do better. Specific to that position, I thought there were some good things from really all three guys. I thought there was some not so good things from all three guys. But I think there was some good things and not so good things from everyone on the team. Again, I mentioned the drops, I mentioned the penalties, I mentioned the negative runs. Those are things we have to clean up as a collective group. Some of those are not on the quarterback. Being second and 15 or first and 20, that's not advantageous for anyone. So we need to clean those things up to get a good evaluation of the entire offense.
Will Albert Wilson be ready to play a full game this week?
Albert's doing everything he can to get back on the field. We've seen him, and again, he's done a little bit more each week in practice, and he's continuing to do that. And he'll be out there as soon as he can. Maybe that's this week, maybe it's not. We'll see. We'll go through these next couple of days of practice and take it from there.
Coach, what's your general philosophy on starters playing on special teams?
Oh, we're gonna.
I'm sorry.
We're gonna have the best 11 guys in the kicking game out there. So yeah, we'll have some starters playing on special teams. That's a very important phase. Very important phase. So yeah, you'll see some starters playing in the kicking game. Whether it's linebackers on punt or receivers on punt return, or we're going to get the best 11 guys, because that's a very important phase to me, as I've said in the past. So.
One more question on the quarterbacks. Oftentimes in the third preseason game, the starter will go the half, or maybe sometimes in the third quarter. Is there a scenario in which we can see Josh and Ryan both playing in the first half with the first team?
Yeah, there's a scenario you could see that. There's a scenario you could see him playing a half. There's a scenario we could see him playing the entire game. There's a scenario, that's yet to be determined. It's still early in the week. We're going through the process. I mean, I've got a few thoughts in my head of how I'd like it to go, but again, there's various scenarios, so we'll see which one. It could be a half, it could be a quarter, it could be a series. We'll see.
Flo, what does Josh have to do in the next 2 weeks to be the starter week 1?
It's a good question. I think he's got to continue to improve on the things that he's done well, and then the things that he hasn't done as well. We need to see improvements there. Like he can't take as many sacks as he's taken in practice and games. We talked about that. He's got to step up in the pocket. He's got to have command of the offense. And I think those things are very important at this position. He's got to get the ball out quicker. Yeah, he's got to do all those things. And I would say the same as, is said for Fitz and Jake. They have to do all of these things, better. All right. And at the end of the day, it's about our offense moving the ball and putting points on the board.
After the first preseason game, you said sometimes you want Josh to take a sack. It's the right play to make.
Yeah.
Is it what happened after the second game? Is it the offensive line? Is he holding the ball too long, like you said?
Sometimes the right play is to take a sack. You got to know when the journey's over. Other times, you got to get the ball out quicker. So there's a fine line between all those things, and it's something we talk about in the quarterback room. And again, every play is a little bit different, and each quarterback's a little bit different. But we don't want to just take sack after sack after sack. We can help that by getting the ball out a little bit quicker, stepping up in the pocket, and that's about footwork and fundamentals, and those are things we'll be working on this week.
Brian, you've got a lot of key players that have been injured. How realistic a look can you get at your team if they don't play this week? Kiko and Rashad and TJ, you know the list, Kenyon, Kalen.
Well, we're going to have to put somebody out there. So, that's just, it'll be a real look for someone. As far as our evaluation, I guess that's as far as our evaluation, I mean, we can only evaluate the guys who are out there. If they're not out there, we can't evaluate them. I know guys are working extremely hard to get back into the game, whether it's Kiko, Rashad, or whoever else you may mention. But we're going to have 11 out there. I promise you that. Hopefully it's 11 and not 10 or not 12. I know that's something that we harp on a lot here. But all we can do is evaluate the guys who are out there, and we've got 90 guys on the roster, and each guy's competing and trying to make this team. And if they get an opportunity, they got to take advantage of it. And there's nothing we can do about the injuries. These guys are trying to get back, and we can only evaluate the guys who are out there.
How clear do you feel it is at this moment that you have the best five on the offensive line, that you know they are?
Well, I think the two young guys are improving and developing. I feel good about the five guys that are rolling right now. I think the communication's improving on a weekly basis. I think the technique, the fundamentals are improving. I think they're working well together, guard to tackle, center to guard, and then the entire group. There can always be improvement, but I like what I've seen from those five guys, and hopefully they'll continue to improve. But each game is a little bit different. Each game's an experience, and hopefully we just continue to improve and get better.
Where do you
imagine on the offense. Go ahead,
where do you stand with the pass rush? We saw some things that worked well the other night. What was going on that led you to that improvement?
I thought Charles Harris played really well the other night. I thought we had some really good individual efforts, and I thought as a group, we played well as far as not allowing the quarterback to step up, as far as running a few games, and then our just pursuit to the quarterback was very good. Now I would have liked to see us tackle the quarterback a little bit better. That would have helped us, but I think those guys are really working hard as a unit to try to work the pass rush games, and then their individual technique on a one-on-one rush is improved, and you saw that on the other night.
I imagine on the offensive line, some mix of players are going to play together at some point during the season. What could a lineup of Jesse Davis
I think that, if that were the case, I think that's, I mean, we'd have two big, strong guys on the right side. You'd have a young guy working with an older guy, kind of similar to how we have Shaq and Jesse right now, where the young guy would have to probably lean on the older guy a little bit for calls and adjustments, etc. But we would have to make that work. And again, it's a team effort, and Jesse's from a leadership standpoint. He's a quiet guy, but when he speaks, people listen. I've really enjoyed working with him. I think he's really doing a lot of things, well, and he's a guy who's helping some of those young guys. Really, Jesse to Kilgore, Tunts, they're all doing I think they're. I'm really appreciative of the way that they've worked with these young guys and trying to help them come along. Because look, they were young guys once too, and they had some older vets help them along. So I'd like to see that from our veteran players, and that would be the same if it was a Jesse and Prince lineup.
You've had the same five guys working together since the coaching change, and it's been like 3 weeks and 2 preseason games. Would it be counterproductive to start experimenting, moving guys around now, or
Well,
is that the five?
I don't know if it'd be counterproductive, because I think we've got to be ready if something happens. I think we've got to be. I think that's part of our job as coaches is to kind of think worst case, and if something happens or somebody's shoe comes off and another guy's got to go in, and we can't let the wheels can't fall off. So I think we do that really at all positions. So we'll work a mix of guys, and I could see how you think it could be counterproductive in that you're not working the five guys you think all the time, and but we've got to be ready if something happens, and that's on the O line, on the D line, different groups of guys in the secondary. I think we all have to. It's all the same verbiage, but the communication between you and I might be different than me and Cameron. So I think that's something that you've got to work through that, and we try to create situations where we force that communication between different guys.
Brian, when you have players like Xavier and Larry playing cornerstone positions at the level they are, how freeing is that for you from a game plan perspective?
Well, from a game plan perspective, it allows you to do a few things, that some other, if you didn't feel as good about some other players that you wouldn't do. For instance, we'll leave Laramie one-on-one or leave X one-on-one. I think offenses and defenses, they can force a situation where you can't do that. Every coordinator knows how to do that. But yeah, it gives you an opportunity to slide the protection away from Laramie or move the coverage away from X. We cannot do that also. But I think it's, having good players is always a good thing. I'm not going to tell you that it's not. So we're happy with those two guys. We're happy with a lot of the guys. And, it's a nice feeling to know that, hey, I like that matchup with X, or I like this matchup with Tunsil. Let's leave those guys alone and let's work around. We got some other problems somewhere else. Let's focus our attention there.
Brian,
got time for two more guys.
where do you feel like you're at with the running game right now?
It's really, I'm focused on the run game today. So it's been, I would say, from a practice and a game standpoint, we've seen some bright spots, but we need to continue to improve there. There's some combination blocks. There's some schematically a few things we can do a little bit better, but it's an ongoing process. And again, like I've said with everything, hopefully, what we've seen from the run game isn't the best we'll see for the rest of the year. I hope not, because we got a long way to go here. I think you guys feel the same way, hopefully, and we'll just continue to try to improve. But I think we got good backs, and we want to get them the ball in space, try to create some space for them in the run game, and hopefully we can pick up some yardage, control time of possession, control the clock. and grind out some tough yardage.
Final question?
What has stood out to you about Patrick Laird?
Laird's a young guy who works hard, who plays, has done everything we've asked. He's played well in the kicking game. When he gets his opportunity, in the running game, as a receiver, he's taking advantage of him. He does, he just does everything. He just does everything right, and he's had a good camp so far, but and he's earned, some more opportunities which he's gotten, and he's taking advantage of them. So he needs to stay on this path, and he'll have a chance. But again, it's about consistency. It always is.